I am thy forever sociopathic poet, rhyme infinitist, sociopath, one who feels no empathy, no sympathy, no emotion, sociopath, not understanding wrongful actions, only pleasing one's satisfaction, sociopath, living without truly caring what is the purpose, sociopath, living a lie, it's all just pretentious, sociopath, selfishness at its finest, a confidence so strong, sociopath, peace of mind, sinful bliss, morality gone, sociopath, having no shame, no guilt, no conscience, sociopath, a devil within, feeding the monster, entertaining one's concupiscence, sociopath, evil, deceitful, lethal, sociopath, probably me, living amongst you people, locked down, 13 hours, 5 hours he plays. That's the way the prisoner Willie's away his days on death row for the murders of his wife and son, locked in a 4'9" cell for a crime he's done. 4 years down and counting. See, I've done the math. It's death by lethal injection for that sick sociopath decomposing and headless in San Francisco Bay. He said she was missing, but was found that way. His son, lifeless fetus had previously washed ashore, which repulsed everyone, even that much more. 4 years down and counting. See, I've done the math. It's death by lethal injection for that sick sociopath. Her family were all hoping she'd be found alive, although he knew she was dead. He feigned concern what live. She was weighted down, which made him quite convinced that she'd never be found floating in the rinse. 4 years down and counting. See, I've done the math. It's death by lethal injection for that sick sociopath. While they were contemplating their poor loved one's fate, his only concern was which chick he should date. He had to satisfy an internal itch. But karma is a mother for you. It can be fucked for years down the road and counting. See, I've done the math. It's death by lethal injection for that sick sociopath. 4 years and counting. Whoa, down death row for that sick sociopath. There's that spitting infinite raps. Uh, to the only proper way to be conversationalist is to convince yourself that you're born if you can strip back the hard shell of the ego and look down on yourself from the eye of an apathic God, you will likely and hopefully see just how born you really are. It isn't a sin to be born. In fact, are many advantages to honest self depreciation. The main advantage is the way you approach a conversation. Interesting people find it difficult to silence the affected scorekeeper that dominates their internal dialogue and runs any chance of an honest and engaged conversation. It is the voice that reminds you to show interest with your body language and keep a dumb, happy gaze laser pointed into their eyes. This dialogue is obsessed with authenticity and a genuine conversation, and therefore a natural sociopath. Luckily, you are the stunning definition of boredom and extracted dictionary cut out of uninteresting, and nobody could possibly give a rat's ass what you have to think. Least of all, the voice that controls the inner dialogue. That voice has packed it up to find a more interesting vessel, maybe the person standing across from you in the conversation. She loves every one of her victims. He loves every one of his victims from the bottom of his cold well of a heart. She loves them. She would never fuck an innocent creature. They all deserve it. She stalks her prey. She gets in close. They begin to whisper their evil little secrets. No one is blameless. She knows this. Dig deep enough. Find the truth. It is soiled. She slits their throats. You are released from your sins. She ensures them through hot blood. They promise they have her too. That cold, heartless bitch. I'll go suck a dick. He was a frat guy. He spoke loud at a dinner table across the room, and I listened. Someone touched him as a young boy. Oh no. And Daddy's expectations of denial of homosexuality fueled his son's speech, speaking hypothetically about the colloquial term for jacking off two dudes at once, and if that name increased quantitatively, that what then was the appropriate term for jacking off 100 dudes? His friends laughed. Hey, I said I do to a sociopath. No whiny snivel, no quibble, no a BPD, a borderline personality disorder, sweet insanity, submerged insecurity, Indian giver, a lifelong a victim, child manipulator, sick as snot running below the radar now, a dripping, a pretty baggage, finding perspective. Wow, amazing what can reside in a raid-sized cranium, Disneyland incognito. Oh, a Frood would have missed this one. She feels too little. He feels too much. They meet in the middle. Only one mimics touch. He says he loves. She says that too. He asks, do you mean it? She replies, of course I do. He compares her soul to the beauty of life. She makes him a sandwich, convinced it will suffice. He grabs her hand and places a ring. She smirks and shrugs and says, sure thing. He wants an argument and a play of words. She looks out the window as nothing is heard. He brings home gifts and recited affection. She portrays acceptance and calls him perfection. She is the poetry that pours out of his mind. He is the man she chose to pass the time. Hand in hand, they both look fine. Others envy the farce. They shine. One believes it true. The others know it's a lie. The sociopath and the poet, an oddity at best. He loves her more with each second past, and she can only love him less. You're a poison rose in a wedding band. A glad eye with a stabbing hand, a tumor vicious, rumor surrounds you, X on death, BPX on death, bound you. I first found you amusing and witty, cutting remarks, a stick and both ends, a gutter scumbag of a glaze of charm, only interested in doing harm, a sociopath, the eyes, the devil's eyes, the eyes of the psychopath, the devil's eyes, a rapping again, uh, never stop spitting again. I seen you lies like lullabies. I seen you lies like lullabies. The guilt slides off me, and you'll never realize that these wise eyes are a prize. A guise fashioned to capitalize, or cries off all shapes and size. Cries for blood, cries for pain, cries for God, cries in vain. Cries you catch on, you won't, will label you insane. In the meantime, I'll be playing in the next Holocaust, miles above you on my jet plane. Loving you was the worst mistake I ever made, along with believing you when you said you loved me too, because you're a fucking crazy mess, a sociopath.